yes, your decodable, it normally has whatever you've been teaching, that new concept built into it. And for some reason, I get the reason, but a lot of times what it has is taking the whole decodable story or text and kind of chunk it up into sentences to make it easier for your students. And some might need that, but I'm just like, I'm just throwing off the hook. And let's just get it done. So sometimes you do, but a lot of times it wasn't really necessary for me. And then we would spell, so you can give them some sentences, put that in there. But I want to tell you that, like, for my students, when we got ready to spell or read the decodable, I would always remind them, like, of what our sentences do. So we would say, like, I start with a capital, I end with an N mark, spaces in between. I can read what I mean. And then we would go, the pot is so hot. And then we would go through, like, N mark stops my sentence. So they would tell me what a period is for telling, exclamation mark, and then question mark. And we would go through all of those to get their brains ready to know what a sentence looks like, how my voice should sound, where I should start and stop at. This is what UFLI gave me for this student on lesson 93. This is what I was able to go right into AI, and not only did I have the AU and AW, I also put, and I want mixed vowel sounds, and I want you to target these high frequency words that are irregular. It gave me this, sometimes AI come out, you're like, what? And
that's not what I wanted.
Right, at all. So you just have to be mindful that comes back to preparing. So I tweaked it about 13 times, and we got here. But as you see, I made it smaller, but I was also able to ask AI to calculate the total number of words, how many words with the spelling pattern that I just taught, how many had mixed vowels, so that I can do a code read. And when I say code read, like in the morning when a student would come in, I had 2 minutes, I want you to read. I don't have to sit there all day and try to get you to finish this passage. But me hearing you read for 2 minutes gives me a lot of information that I did not know otherwise. And I would typically stop them. Also, this for AU and AW. Since I'm housed in the Lit Lab, I know all of this good stuff. There is, and I've never seen this before at any school, you guys have a whole room full of resources with decodable text. And I went right to the concept, the new concept, and I found a whole tub of exactly what I needed for that student. So right there in the Lit Lab, I just went to that white basket and I found a lot of resources, decodable, completely decodable, that would work for this second grade student, and then this resource as well. So I will just say, I haven't seen it, so I was just so excited about it. So please don't forget, the text that you give that's decodable does not need to be from UFLI. You have resources right here. Extra lessons. It does have word chains, high frequency word address, all of that good stuff as extra resources for every lesson, but guess what? Ta-da! Ta-da! Oh, not yet. Ta-da! You have extra resources already created, and Starla has shared with me a lot that was done already for your TAs for an extended practice for your students. I don't know when they'll dig into that. But that extended practice piece, your IAs can take on, and it also can transition into a small group for your students. Starla, do you want to share anything about those? I'm sorry.
They're in my room, and I think you're going to train TAs later.
I chose to have just classroom. I just wanted y'all in here today, and then we are going to train some of the TAs. There's just something about the whole staff is in here. We kind of lose some people, and I just really wanted us to all be here and attentive to this. And then we are recording it, but your teacher assistants are also going to get to hear this at some point. But I truly mean, well, you hear her repeating the resources that we do have. If you're down there and you're just not asking for things, or maybe you didn't know you really needed it, or how to use whiteboards with lines or whatever, ask, because we need to get that into your hands, because as we're learning and growing, we're going to need some more resources.
Please, and I would love to be in the classroom.
Hey, would you I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yes.
Would you be willing to come and like, I don't know, we can piece things together and get coverage, come in and just like model,
Yes.
teach this? 'Cause I wanna learn it, I wanna be able to go in and do it.
Yes, and I don't teach like this, like just standing up, like going on and on and on, but I know that how you feel. It's how we feel, I'm trying to hurt. So absolutely, anything
Okay,
that you need.
that'd be great.
So now, I'm thinking, I am always thinking about when I'm in a small group with like 4 and 5 students, I still have 16 students away from me. So I still need to make sure that what they're doing is as intentional, as purposeful as the time that they would spend with me. So I just wanted to quickly, because I know it's like, okay, well, we're in a group with 5 kids, what is everybody else doing? So, effective small group, this is something that I gave for my grade level last year, so I just kind of plugged it in about effective small group rotations. For my student, actually, honestly, I was at a school that we weren't allowed to say centers. We weren't allowed to say centers, and I just don't even know why. Like, she was just a mess. But I just love it so much. So we couldn't say centers. So it was collaborative time, it was whatever it was, but I call mine rotations. And so when my students got ready, we would say, collaboration, so we would say collaboration time. I'm expanding my mind. So we would just do all that kind of stuff, and they would pledge to each other, like, I'm not above you, I'm not beneath you, but I'm right here with you. And I would say, what does it mean to collaborate? And they would say to work together and effectively communicate. So just stuff like that, and as you can see, I typically do 2x2s only because, it's harder for me because my brain goes everywhere. If every student goes to every rotation, how differentiated can it kind of be? And I know it was easy when I first started to say, you know what, everybody's gonna come over here and cut out these letter A's, everybody's gonna come over here and look at these books, but I knew that I wasn't meeting the needs of my students, and it took a lot of time. But I was so proud of the progress that my students were able to make. So we didn't do like a rotation where every table just moved or a bucket moved or everybody went here. What happened is you went there if you needed to go there. And it was intentional. So I only had partners of 2 at a time. And because I connected content so much, we did literacy and math at the same time. And I was approved to do that because a lot of the things that we did, I was getting a lot more bang for my buck doing that.
One thing that I would love for you to provide us, because I struggled with this as a kindergarten first and even a 2nd grade teacher. I put so much time and effort to what I was going to be doing with my small group. I didn't really know how to make the 16 others meaningful, and as I, retrospect, I hope I didn't damage any kids, but how to make that as purposeful as I can and not just busy work to either they get to me or maybe if I was assessing. I'm assessing today, so just give them something to do, but actually something that's going to leverage them forward. So maybe you can help us with that, maybe in some planning.
That's my happy place. Yes.
Does any? Okay. maybe
I
it's
feel
just
that
me.
way. I feel that way.
I just struggle.
Yeah.
Like, what would be purposeful?
Just to keep them busy.
Yeah,
but
we can all give them
Yeah.
worksheets that mean literally
But I think
nothing.
it's kind of like changing too, right? Because I don't want to just keep you busy.
Right.
I want whatever you're doing to like blow your own socks off.
Engage,
About
yeah.
what you can do and just engage in. And a lot of things that have been incorporated even on a kindergarten level is we've done it whole group. You've had the opportunity to explore it and understand my expectations, and they're clear. So when it transitioned into a small group for you, you know what to do, it's intentional, and you know our expectations. So I would never just give a student something without being explicit in what I want, how I want it. And they knew, like, when my bell rung or my timer went off, to clean up, sit quietly, and then I'll tell you to switch. And they would literally switch, and they knew to switch with. So if you were doing heavy math, then you were switching to literacy switching to math. And I had that twice a day. So I mean, at an F school, all red in M class and all blue at the end. And they were all learning English or just learning how to sit down.
And another thing, I'm just throwing me out there, maybe somebody can resonate. You're taking me back to my teaching days. Another thing that I struggled with, because I wrote down all the key words that I'm hearing you say, you talked about accountability.
Yes.
Accountability. If they think they're just in that doing it and it's never looked at or talked about, or so I struggle with what's a good accountability piece for when they are in rotations.
Right.
and that important work. Is anybody with me? Or?
Yes.
You know how to make it.
And I know I'm so very extra that I micromanage every single thing. It was even hard for me as a kindergarten teacher just to provide a rotation for books because I am away from you. I don't know if you have that academic language. I don't know if you know what to look for in a book. I don't know what that looks like in that little people land. So in that, I had to be very strategic. You had an anchor chart in front of you. You knew how to go through and say what I needed to do and what I'm supposed to do. But in all aspects, unless maybe one or two are reading, I had an artifact from every small group to see what my students were able to do without me. So here, just small group rotations, just being data-driven, intentional, and I'm really big on Portrait of a Graduate. My kids will talk about that. Nurturing deep engagement of learning targets designed to foster mastery. So a lot of times with my team, we would come and they would say, I'm thinking about this, and it was an activity where they had to cut out a gingerbread man or something. And I'm like, what standard is that targeting? It's easy to do, right? And we're tired, we don't get paid nothing. So it's easy to do, right? But when I think about, like, if I don't set this student up for success, first grade is gonna be extremely at a disadvantage, which means second grade is gonna be at a disadvantage, which means third grade. And then you have third grade teachers talking about handwriting and blending and all the things.
And the superintendent's hounding you because what you do in K and 1 is not it
Yes.
all goes together and it all makes great sense.
And it's just to talk about Dr. Hooman, and he was so proud of us as a county, but his immediate response was to our proficiency scores. And he was like, we're looking at 3-5, but this is a kindergarten issue, a first grade issue, and a second grade issue that we need to address so that 3-5 is not alone.
Right.
Everybody has their way to pull. Creating small groups, again, utilizing data, all of the things, set clear and effective routines and expectations. I stay ready. So I would say to my kids, like, are you ready? And they say, I was born ready. Because, like, even when, and like, close your ears, because sometimes you just want to read aloud. But you can best believe, like, I was ready to go with some targets and something just to give my kids, like, to lighten that cognitive load. But I was ready for whatever came at me. And then stand on the standards. So when I would say to my students, like, make sure your letter formation, they say, stand on business. Because they would get in trouble if their letters wouldn't miss. But I would say, like, just stand on your standards. And then once you know your standards, then if somebody comes and asks you why, then you're confident in saying, this is why. I know my students and I know my standards. You get more bang for your buck when you do all of these things. And again, I've never been at a school that was not Title I. And you'll be able to see what I mean. So like right here, this group of kindergartners, they are picking numbers. And once they pick that number, they'll draw it. They also have cubes to line it in the tens frame, and then they check on each other. This was probably the first, well, maybe the second week of school for my kindergartners independently, because we did it whole group as a part of math, and then it transitioned into a small group, and they knew what to do. This is Alana. Now this is towards the end. That's not Nathan, but they sit in different spaces. It's not Nathan. But I will say, like, just being strategic, and I call it count the room. It is not count the room. But all year long, they had a sheet, and on that sheet had different high frequency words that we had been learning. Like it might say this bag has, and then it has blank. But if you can see, she has forks and she has bows because we were doing vowel teams. And we were doing R control. So what she had to do was identify some of the high frequency words within there. And if you can see, she had to count how many forks, write the number. Count how many bows, write the number, and then add them all together. So that was a way for me to have her encoding, decoding, writing, and counting, adding, and then providing the sum, putting the total in. So this was a routine that we built in our room. They would grab a bag, fill out all of that stuff, check on each other's work, and then they would go pick another bag. So it was really tied into literacy and math were just hand in hand.
I'm sorry, what grade you said?
This is first grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is first grade. This is first grade. It's first kindergarten. It's one of those.
Okay.
I can't remember. I just started grabbing stuff from my class dojo. But what I can say is they were very much excited about this, and this is just stuff I found around the school and around my classroom, but this was something that we use every day. And sometimes if something happened with my morning work or something, that this was something that they did, because we hit the ground running as soon as they got packed in my classroom. And this is something that went all year long. And you can see she has something that she's recording, but it's not a worksheet. It is something that I can look at and say, let me see her handwriting, let me see her letter formation, let me see if she added these numbers correctly, if she had any reversals, all of that good stuff at the end. And they knew I was going to see it. And a lot of times I would pick the collaborative groups against each other. Here, this is also kindergarten or first grade. They were doing doubles or no doubles. They had to talk to each other. And you won't ever see more than 2 in a group, just to be intentional about what I was doing. These students were kind of ready to kind of move up some, so I didn't take out any dominoes like I normally would. But they would have to identify if it was doubles or not doubles and place it in that plate, and then they would actually calculate it. They had one side on their sheet that had doubles and another side that had not doubles and a model, and then they would add the 2 sides together. So again, when they're done, even though I'm having an intentional small group, I'm able to see what these 2 students did during their time at doubles and no doubles. And only 4 students went there that day. These students, we would do for our story problems, read and retell, call out what you know, draw or act it out. Where is my number sentence? That's my equation. And then what's most important, that you check on yourself. So on my easel, my dry erase easel and permanent marker, I wrote the steps for them to remember. And these story problems are 100% decodable for those students. So they're standing up in the middle together and they're reading. I can't remember. I think it says Dan had 9 cups. His mom got him more cups, and now mom got. It just sounded amazing, right? Because it's decodable. But how many cups does he have now? So they would read it to each other, act it out, retell, and they would check off on the side once they were done. I didn't have them have a recording sheet because with my eyes I could see what they were working on. They were right across from me. And here is just 2 videos that I was able to find. This one thing I love to do is a lot of stuff on the floor. So for instance, to build fluency and that automaticity with my students, I would have predicted sentences that those, not predicted, but I would have appropriate decodable sentences for them, and I would change the end marks, and I would put the end marks on the floor, and the one partner would have to read the sentence with their mouth sounding like an exclamation mark, question mark, and the other one would have to identify it, and then they would give each other a word to write, or they would collect points. I think this is kindergarten here, but they picked out a feeling because it connected to those comprehension pieces, and the other person had to read their sentence with that feeling. It might not work. I might need some sound, but
I think, did you try hit and play? I don't think there's a separate cord.
oh, y'all got some new technology. I used to have another cord. Let me start over. So again, this is kindergarten, and I want to say that this was December when I recorded this. So for and then if you can see, I might have first or something there because they will have the sequence stories. There's a lot of stuff they did on the floor. I would keep a number line on the floor for them to do math as well. Here is another area. Now I do have my an assistant at that time, so I just wanted to show kind of what my classroom looked like when I was in